Good evening, or good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. It's Wednesday Night Live. Streaming tonight, I had asked people to submit questions on Twitter, Instagram, and on the community tab here on YouTube, and a few people did, so we'll go through and answer those questions here today and talk about some other things. If you hadn't seen that Skydio released another video about the Skydio 2, which they say is going to be soon. They're going to be releasing it soon, and I'm eagerly anticipating and awaiting that email from them so that I can finish out everything I need to do to be in that first batch of pre-orders, and very excited about that. I think the Skydio 2 could be a real, possibly the perfect drone for people who create content by themselves, especially like I do, where you're trying to film yourself. I think that thing is going to be fantastic. So, hey, Cardoso Media, welcome. Glad you're here. Harrison Family Vlogs, welcome. John Burnett, good evening. Glad you all are here. We finally got some snow up here in Alaska, and it's melting because it's 48 degrees right now. See, Park, good to see you, man. Welcome. My fellow Weeble reviewer and comparer. Yeah, we finally got like 6-7 inches of snow, and it was nice until this morning when it warmed up, and it's all melting now. So hopefully it melts all the way down to the pavement so that it's better. And hey, Mark Lazenby, welcome. Mike Roche, welcome. But yeah, if you haven't seen the new Skydio video, I'm going to play it here in a minute, and then, or play parts of it at least, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But man, that drone looks amazing. So hey, Rojo Droner, welcome. And okay, so if you don't know, I built an FPV drone, and I've been working on my FPV drone skills. Hi, Bill. Welcome to the stream. So I've been working on my FPV drone skills because I really like the perspective it can provide and the different type of feeling shots that it can do. And I have taken it out several times now, and every single time my GoPro has messed up, and I am about ready to just be done with GoPro for good. It's been so frustrating lately. Even when I've taken it out to record, like just had it in my pocket to pull out and record stuff when I'm out, especially if the weather's not great. It is SD card errors, and it's driving me crazy. So I'll give it a few more months, and if GoPro doesn't get their act together, I probably am going to be done with GoPro. Hey, Bill LeBlanc. Kyle Kelly, welcome. Man, it's good to have you all on the stream. So the other question, or, this here has been the Weeble S, has been, when I got it, I was very excited about it. It's a pre-production copy, so there are some little quirks and stuff that I've had to work out with them. But as far as stabilizing, this is probably one of the best gimbals you can get right now. It is fantastic how well it stabilizes things. There are some bugs that they're working on, like with motion time lapse and stuff like that. Especially if you use the wireless image transmitter unit, there's some bugs there. So they're working on it, but I haven't tried it without. See, I know you've got it. And did you try motion time lapse without the image transmission unit? And how was your results? But overall, I love this thing. It's fantastic. In fact, one of the videos I'm working on, I'm going to try and release on Friday, is ways to use your gimbal, especially by filming yourself. And so I was using motion tracking with this gimbal a lot, and it works well. It doesn't work as well as the Ronin SC does, but it does work really, really well. So, and then the other thing I'm working on a review on is the Moza Aircross 2. I don't know what to say about this thing. It's a good gimbal. And they give you a ton of options. Like, you can manipulate and change and get to almost every single setting possible within this little OLED screen, which is great. But they need to do a few things to keep up with Yoon, however you say the name, and DJI are just there. Yeah, they need to do a few things. So it's not a bad gimbal. But so the deal is, when I hit 10,000 subscribers, which I'm getting close, and thank you all very much for subscribing and being part of this community. I really appreciate it. Whether you're a solo creator or not, it's fun. I love it. So when I hit 10,000, I am going to give this gimbal away. It is a good gimbal. It stabilizes footage really, really well. It's actually really lightweight too, but it'll carry quite a bit of weight. And so I'm going to give it away, and I've got it. When they sent it to me, they sent me, I don't have it down here, but it's got the focus wheel, or the, if you use it as a zoom, power zoom, it works that way too, and a few other things. So, yeah, once I hit 10,000, this will be going to, hopefully, to somebody who really needs a gimbal, because it's a good gimbal. There are a few things I really, really like about it, and a few things I don't, and I think I'm targeting next week to have a review of that gimbal done, the Aircross 2. So anyway, let's see. Now catch up to you all on the chat here. You love yours, Harrison Family Vlogs. The Weeble S is a fantastic gimbal. It really is. Mark Lazenby, you're hoping Santa brings you the Weeble S. I hope so too. It's great. See, it worked with both, worked for you, but yours is a post-production model. Interesting. So maybe it is just a pre-production model, because both my image transmission unit and the gimbal are pre-production models, because they asked me to be part of that group, which I was excited about. But it does come with caveats, as not everything is working exactly right. In fact, when I did the review, I had to do a few things. I had to ask them a few ways that things were going to work in the end, so that when I did the review with the beta testing app and all that, that I could do it accurately to the way it would be after everything was released. But I love this gimbal. And if you haven't, like this, the image transmission system, this right here, is one of the coolest little pieces of tech that Zhiyun's come out with. It is, or however you say their name, I'm going to just say it Zhiyun. But the image transmission system on the Weeble S, this little system here, which you can pick up for like $170 or something, is awesome. It is fantastic, because I can walk away from the gimbal with my phone and have the gimbal follow me either through image tracking, or just control the gimbal from afar and control, or just not even have it attached to the gimbal, just have it attached to my camera on a tripod and see my shot wherever I am, start and stop recording. This is fantastic. So it's really, that I think is one of the coolest pieces of tech they've come out with. So no, Mike, your comments are not grayed out, but there is a time limit. There's like a 60-second time limit to how often you can post. So my everyday dad Gary, my Twitter link went to a video with me outside. And you thought I was live at a glacier? Oh, that would be awesome. Man, if I could do that. I don't think there are any glaciers that I can go to and actually have any sort of cell connection that I can think of. But you've given me an idea now. I'm going to try it. I got to start checking every glacier I go to see if I got cell signal. It would be awesome to do a live stream from a glacier. That would be awesome. That'd be fantastic. So let's see. You get yours Tuesday, John? Excellent. Good deal. Harrison Family Vlogs thinks the package didn't come. Better carrying case. Yeah, they eliminated the case, the styrofoam case, which to me is fine. I never really used the styrofoam case. Actually, I never used it on my Weeble Lab. I pulled everything out, put the case away, and then when I gave it to the next person who was going to use the gimbal, I packed it all back up in the styrofoam case, which looked perfect because it had never been touched except for when I opened it, and sent it off to them. So, but yeah, let's see, Jesse, you done? I'm just getting started, if that's what you mean. I'm good at live streams. Thanks, Josiah. I appreciate that. Harrison Family, you got the base model. You didn't get the extras, but now you wish you did. Well, that's a nice thing. You can add to it as you go. It's great. Everyday Dad, that would be crazy. It would be crazy, but it would be so cool. And there's got to be a glacier or two that I can go to and have cell signal. In fact, I can think of one. It would be hard to do in the winter, but I know there's a glacier that I can get cell signal at, and I don't know if it's strong enough, but then I might have to try that. Speaking of which, Everyday Dad, if you ever want to come up this way and go out to a glacier with me, let me know. I'd be happy to take you out. You could do one of your fiddliness tests out at a glacier or something like that. It'd be really fun. So thanks, Josiah. Nice Q&A. So I do want to get to some of the questions that I got asked. Oh, Jesse, you don't need a case, but slow mode is on. Let me see if I can turn slow mode off while we're doing this. I don't know if I can, because slow mode is, I don't know, I don't even know really why it got turned on, except for, oh, I do know why it got turned on. It was, I had a troll last week that was trolling stuff, so, but I can't turn it off now. Sorry, guys, I cannot turn slow mode off while I'm streaming. So, anyway, let's see. Oh, thanks, Everyday Dad. Thanks for the super chat too. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, if you, and that's, I tell most people, like, if you ever come to Alaska, even if you're not going to be in my area, hit me up, because I'd love to give you some pointers and some good places to go wherever you're going to go. But if you ever do come up here and have the chance to meet face to face, I would absolutely love to. And I'm even thinking, and I got to look into some of the more technical aspects and the legality aspects with the state, because Alaska has very, I don't want to say strict, but very, they have rules about like guides going out and doing things. But I've thought about putting together a trip sometime down the road, like it'll be a couple years from now, but doing a trip and then taking a handful of people, it would be small, like 6 to 12 at the most, out to some of these locations that I go, and exploring some of those places, and you would get to experience it personally. But I got to check and see what I would have to do it all legally and safely. Although I'm pretty safe anyway. Everyday Dad is the coolest dad. He is, except for he runs. Gary, I got to be honest, man. I don't know how you run. I can't run. I used to. I hate running. I probably should be really good at it because it's the way my body is built, but I am not, and I don't enjoy it at all. It's not fun to me. But I can hike. I can hike like for days without stopping at a fast pace. But yeah, running is not my cup of tea. Although honestly, I'm really tall, so a lot of times my pace, my walking pace, to some people seems like running. Yeah. So, it is. Everyday Dad rules. He does. His camera reviews are so good. I love watching his camera reviews. Let's see. W6 RIP Radio Adventures. Thanks for all your help on the Road at SC. Really helped your hiking footage. Yeah, awesome. Glad. I'm really glad to hear that. And you're welcome. I haven't done much with the Ronin SC since I've gotten the Weeble S, and part of that's been I've just really wanted to, if I do a deep dive review, which I'm planning on the Weeble S, I wanted to really know it inside and out, and so, it just, yeah, but the Ronin SC is still a great gimbal. I'm probably going to, not retire mine, but I might send it on to somebody else who can use it, so we'll see. Anyway. Yeah, you're for it, John. Thanks. Well, I will definitely let people know here. And like I said, it would be a very small, limited group, because the places I go, one, you need to be in a decent amount of physical shape to get to some of them, most of them. And it just is not conducive to take a large group of people to some of those locations. So, yeah, anyway. But, man, I'd love to be on the crew helping the Everyday Dad film a Let's Find Out video up here in a glacier, around a glacier, on a glacier, or inside of a glacier. Any of those things would be a lot of fun. Or at the top of a mountain. That's fine, too. Those are also really fun places to go. W6 RIP, you're the same way. All hike, no run. That's awesome. If the MixPre smartphone mic works on the Ronin SC, you have a buyer. Okay, tell you what, Steven. After this live stream, it might be tomorrow. I can't promise tonight, but I will. If you follow me on Twitter or on Instagram, I will take my MixPre 3, my Ronin SC, and maybe the Weeble S, and put my phone on top and put it together as a package and see if it will balance that way, just for you. I won't post it on YouTube, not yet, anyway. But if you want to see it, like, make sure you follow me on Twitter. I'll just, for the heck of it, it'll be fun. Because I am kind of curious, actually, now, because I I've been working on an audio, like different types of audio, mono, like this is right now, stereo, when you're recording with a stereo mic, and then binaural, which is my little ear microphone thing that I built that I've got a video coming up next week for how to build it. But the different ways those different ways of audio, the different ways you can use those kinds of audio to enhance your videos, because audio is not, pretty much everybody knows that getting good audio is really important to video, and it's much more important than even like stable video or nice looking video. If the audio is bad, people will tune out really fast. When I was working in recording studios and stuff like that, anytime you do audio stuff, it's very well understood that audio is extremely crucial to the success or the failure of a film, because of the audio, it's sort of the back door to the brain, for lack of a better term. That's the way it works. We respond visually to what we hear auditorily. It's a weird thing, but it does work that way. And so anyway, I wanted to do a video where I've got my Mix-Pre 3, the two DDS mic 2s as a stereo set, the one mono mic for my voice, the D3 Pro, and then my binaural system. The only way I can do that and record everything at the same time is through the Mix-Pre. So we'll see. I did work on it a little bit this summer. I gathered a bunch of footage. I just haven't had the chance to really sit down and put it all together and edit it yet. But yeah, so I'm working on it. All right, let's get to your questions and we'll continue the conversation. So Bud Bieber asks, what about the YouTube changes? So I'm assuming, Bud, you're talking about the COPPA changes. And what was the other change? Oh, there was the kind of the scare about like if your channel's not financially viable, that we'll just delete it sort of thing. A lot of that is it's been blown way out of proportion. Now, the COPPA stuff is real. That is going to affect people who create content for kids, especially. Like, that's going to affect them big time. It's not as big a deal for somebody like me, who is not creating stuff for children specifically. If kids watch it, it's because parents are letting them watch on the regular YouTube app, and that's, a parent problem, not a me problem. But it is unfortunate, and I think if you have the chance, and especially if you're a creator here on YouTube, you need to go comment on the FTC commentary section, which I don't have a link to right now. But if you look up Roberto Blake, and a lot of the YouTube growth experts have that link there. It's unfortunate because they're taking a mindset that I think is more like a 19th century mindset and trying to push it into a 21st century mindset or 21st century technology. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens and how it pans out. But it's not as big a deal as a lot of people are making it out to be if you don't create content specifically for kids. And so I don't on this channel. On my other channel that I have, which is a like Star Wars channel, even though a lot of kids watch that channel, I'm not creating it specifically for kids, and I don't really even monetize it because it's just, I don't know. It's not my intellectual property. So anyway, that's an answer for that. So Kyle Kelly, you get a gimbal. We all get gimbals. Yeah, exactly, Kyle. So I will be giving this one away. I don't know if the Ronin SC, I have really, really liked using the Ronin SC. It has been a great gimbal. And so, whether I end up like selling it or giving it away, I don't know yet. It's hard to think about letting it go because it has been a fantastic gimbal. Like, since it came out, that thing has been rock solid, and I've taken it everywhere. And that's the thing I do. Like, I need to do long-term reviews of these things because I really do put them through some pretty tough conditions. Like this, walking down inside of a glacier ice cave, is dripping all around and everything's wet and very cold. This thing handled it like a champ, and I let Zion know that. I showed him some video of where I was, what I had done, and their first response was, "It is not weatherproof. Be careful with it." And I said, "Yeah, I know that, but that's my context. I have to use it in locations like that." So it's a risk, but it works. Let's see, Stephen Herbert, you're gonna go follow me? Awesome, thank you. Stephen, you're an audio guy trying to become a video guy. That is fantastic. That's great. Yeah, that's my background, was recording studios, He's either as a recording engineer or as a producer, and so and then I've transitioned into video and photography, which is something I've kind of done on the side most of my life, or most of my like adult life, just because I really enjoyed it and really liked it. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna ask. I asked people for questions in the community tab and on Twitter and Instagram, and I got a few, so I'm gonna answer those and go through here and then try and keep up with you all in the chat. So bear with me here. But the 8-Bit Wolf asked me if he knows when I'm going to be on Thursday Night Live with Ken Herron next. I do not. I do need to send Ken some more footage. I've collected some really good footage over the summer of Alaska in some really incredible locations, and I need to put it all together and then send it to Ken so he can play it on Thursday Night Live if he wants to. So Luis Marquez Real Estate asked me, when vlogging with an A7 III, is it best to use auto settings so you don't have to worry about bad exposure? So Lewis, the way I use my A7 III is I don't use full auto. I set it on manual, and that way I can set the shutter speed and the aperture that I want, which is generally a lower aperture. But for real estate, you might want a higher aperture, but you definitely want. And then I set the ISO on auto, so that way the camera is adjusting the ISO, which is actually the way I've got this set up right now too. The camera's adjusting the ISO automatically, but the aperture and the shutter speed are set. But that's for video. If you're doing photo, you could do full auto on a photo, okay, and you would get good pictures. The only difference is it might blow out some highlights, so you might want to change it like to where it's like aperture priority, and you could set the aperture where you want it, and then the shutter speed and the ISO would be set automatically, and that's how I would go about that. And I am I'm getting ready to work on a like kind of how I use my A7 III or my A6400 when I'm shooting different types of things, and my settings and how I switch between them and stuff like that. That video will be coming, especially because the weather's terrible. It's really hard to go anywhere outside right now. So let me see. W6RIP Radio Adventures. That's a really interesting screen name. I'd kind of like to know the story behind that screen name. Anyway, you had to get the handle deal for the Ronin SC so you could suitcase hold it way better. Yes, and that is the thing that Yoon has done that has been, I think, that my favorite thing of all. I mean, you can have all the bells and whistles. At the end of the day, I want a gimbal that can stabilize a camera really well, and I want it to be ergonomic to use and fairly intuitive. And when they put the handle thing here, that's just been fantastic. It's my favorite design of a gimbal so far. So yeah, the handle for the Ronin SC is really handy too. Cardo, so you did too? Wow, a lot of people doing that. That's really cool. So Ankit Singh asks a specific question related to the Weeble S. Is it possible to control the follow focus on the Weeble S using the ZY Play app using an image transmission unit? I know it was on the original Weeble Lab. I don't have a follow focus motor to test, so I'm not sure, but I would think that it would be possible. Although when I tried it on the Weeble Lab, it was very difficult to do well. It really was hard to do well. So I generally leave my camera in autofocus and either put it in the center of frame or wide focus area with face detect on and kind of let it do its thing. It does a really good job. That's a great thing about cameras nowadays. The autofocus is fantastic. So Bill LeBlanc asks a question about if I'm a bush pilot and what kind of survival gear I carry, just in case. I am not a bush pilot, Bill. I do want to get my pilot's license someday. I do have a commercial drone pilot license, but that's as far as I've gone so far. But I do want to get my pilot's license someday and get a small airplane so that I can buzz around with my friends and not have to bum rides off of them all the time. But when we go out to the places we're going out and when we do things, we do carry a little bit of survival gear with us. And so that would be like a couple of really small but very warm, lightweight sleeping bags. Things like water, a little bit extra food. We kind of fail on the food front a lot, but we generally have something. We usually have a small first aid kit. I have a small first aid kit, and it's happened several times where I've had to patch somebody up on the trail. Not us, but like some other group of people were there in the area, like by the ice caves or something, and somebody slipped, sliced their hand wide open, and so I've had to patch a few of those people up. So I have a small first aid kit that I've kind of made custom for me. And a lot of it, like it has the usual Band-Aids and antiseptics and a couple of nitrile gloves. But then I also have those little, I can't remember what they're called, but they're essentially like zip ties that you stick to your skin and you can zip tie together. You can essentially suture a larger cut, which is really crucial. And then I also have like, it's not super glue, but it's the skin safe super glue for wound healing, closing, and then some bigger gauze pads and stuff like that, just in case I have to patch somebody up, which has happened more frequently than I'd like to admit, actually. Thankfully, it's never been anybody in my group, or it's never been me for the most part. So, Stephen Haber, are you? Yeah, you're here. You asked me if I use the iFootage monopods and using them with the included mini tripod feet, and you're wondering if it's stable enough for filming or does it sway in ideal conditions. So I haven't used one of their monopods, but and I really do want to because they look fantastic. And from everything I've seen, I have seen people with that little tripod base with a camera on top filming that way in ideal conditions. I think as soon as you start to get much wind or anything like that, it'll start to move and sway. But from what I've seen, that's an incredibly stable monopod, and I'm hoping to add one to my kit in the next like 6 to 8 months maybe, just because it looks really fantastic and I'd like to try it. Yeah, so I would say go for it if you've got that in the budget, because one, you can always use the small tripod with the fluid head if you wanted to, and then the monopod. It's a fantastic monopod, and that's one of the videos I'm working on is like how to use these creatively. And so one way to use something like this is stick it on a monopod, and then all of a sudden, with the monopod extended, you have this great big long, like jib crane type shot, which is really fun. So those are all the questions I got on YouTube. Now I got to go over to Instagram because I know a few people asked me questions on Instagram too. Let's see, where were they? There we go. Kyle Kelly, you asked me a question here. You asked me what's my favorite gimbal. Right now, it's definitely the Weeble S. The Ronin SC is a close second. It's a little bit still better. It's smart features, but it's the Ronin S the Weeble S is my favorite right now. It's fantastic. So you'd love to have one. I'm curious what your documentary is about, because gimbal would be very interesting. And then somebody asked me, and I can't remember where it was. Maybe here? Nope. Anyway, somebody asked me about adding a Weeble or a gimbal to their whitewater rafting. I don't know if you're in the chat tonight, but if you're going to be whitewater rafting, I'm very curious to see if you're going to be using it on a raft, because that would be I'd be a little scared to do that personally, but you definitely could if you wanted to. I'd just be very careful about getting it wet. So Andre Harrison asked me on Instagram, he asked me, what's the best strategies to create faster editing workflow? And Andre, I'm so glad you asked that question. It is one of the videos I need to make, but I haven't made it yet. Might be a little while because I'm kind of backed up right now. But the best way to create faster editing workflow that I've found is, in the beginning, when you're getting ready to make a video, storyboard. I have not storyboarded a lot of my videos, and I'm just now, at least a lot of my videos. Like when I do client work, I do storyboard those because obviously the client has to sign off on that sort of stuff. But storyboarding your own videos, even if it's just a really basic outline, and it causes you to be more intentional about what you're shooting when you go to actually film it. And then when you get done filming, if you've planned it from point A to point B, beginning to end of your storyboarding, execution, aka filming, and then putting it all together in the editing becomes so much easier because you're not having to wade through as much footage or as many different shots or trying to figure out like how you want to, make the story work. And you still do some of that, but when it's storyboarded out, you kind of go into it knowing what you want, what you need to get out of it from shots wise. And then when you go to edit, it really makes it simpler. And in like, especially with drone footage, that's where I really challenge people to don't just put a drone up in the air and film for 4 minutes. Now, FPV style drones a little different, but anything else, like, you need to really be intentional about what you're filming. And so that's where I tell people, like, start and stop the drone anytime you're filming. Go do the shot you want, stop the recording, go find the next shot you want, do that shot. Because when you go to editing, it makes it so much faster and so much easier to sift through that footage and get the shots, exactly the shots you want. But I would say storyboarding, essentially it's beginning with the end in mind. And that's the video I need to do is when you're getting ready to produce anything, whether it's music or anything like that, you always have to start with the end in mind. How do you want this to sound? How do you want this to look? What's the story you're trying to tell? And then when you start with that sort of dictates everything else from there so that you don't end up with a whole lot of extemporaneous footage that you're not going to need or use. It really, really helps to focus you and force you to be careful about what you're filming and why. And the same thing is true when you're starting and stopping a drone when you're filming, is it makes you more actively thinking about what shot you're filming and why you want that shot. So that's my philosophy. And then there's other things when you like actually in editing, there's there's a workflow that you develop. And I always told people this in studios, and the same is true with video editing, is that you develop a workflow that works for you, and it takes a little bit of time and just messing around with stuff to really figure that out. But once you figure that out, then just do that. Because the more you build that habit of that way of working, the faster and easier it becomes, and the less you have to think about certain things that are just part of editing. Always what you're going to do, and when I sit down to edit, is go through all of the files. Pull them into Final Cut, kind of go through all of the ones that are decent, get rid of any of them that are bad, and like they're all on a timeline, and I just kind of skim through everything and get rid of all the stuff that I don't like. And then I go back through and start cutting down everything, getting rid of the like empty ends and extra stuff that I don't need. And then so it like that pass, and then another pass of kind of digging more deeply and working on the actual story, so to speak. And then as I get down there, after I'm really happy with how the whole thing is fitting together, that's when I'll start doing any color grading, any audio fixes, any white balance changes, anything like that. That's when I start doing that. And then in that area too is when I'll start adding in B-roll, other shots of other things. And so that's one thing I never seem to do enough of, is get enough B-roll for things, but I'm trying to do that. So yeah. All right. So I think those are all the questions I got. If I missed your question, I apologize. Ping me and I'll answer you directly on Twitter or Instagram. But let's see. Best bag for carrying an A6400, 3 lenses, Weeble S, and some weekend clothing. Wow. I mean, honestly, that Peter McKinnon bag looks really nice. And I was on the Kickstarter for a bit. I had to drop off, and I kind of wish I didn't need to, but I have a lot of other camera bags right now, and I don't need I do need another one, but I don't need another one, if that makes sense. So anyway, that being said, I really like the Low Pro Protactic series, whether it's like the Protactic 450. I wouldn't go much smaller than a 450, especially if you're talking clothes. But that would fit an A6400, 3 lenses, the Weeble S, and some clothing and some other odds and ends pretty easily. And that's the bag that I did a What's in My Camera Bag video, and that's the bag that I use for almost everything. And I have done that, exactly what you're talking about. A camera, a couple lenses, GoPro, some extra batteries, miscellaneous odds and ends, a drone, and then my clothing and toiletries, and then I've headed out to the bush for a couple of days or something like that. So that, yeah. The reason I like those, and Think Tank makes some very comparable ones, is the all-weather covering that they come with, and they're very durable and very rugged, and you can strap stuff to the outside. And honestly, most of the time, this is either in my hands or strapped to the outside of the backpack. And but it will fit inside, especially if you like take this plate off and break it down a little bit. It'll slide into the laptop cover if the rest of the bag isn't too full. It'll fit in there. It's a little tight, but it'll work. But you can also fit it in other, like you can set all of the compartments exactly how you want it, so it'll fit in there too, and it works well. So let's see, John Burnett, you'll need to keep that in mind when you start vlogging. Yeah, and so John, it's a little harder with vlogging because you don't, unless you know kind of what's going to happen that day, which is great if you do, but if you don't, then you're going to end up doing a lot more time on the vlogging side of like putting together the story, and you're going to film a lot more footage. But it's still similar principle. Like you can get up with the day and go, okay, this is kind of what I want to have happen this day, and then I'm going to be. So my plan is, because I would like to do this full time. I'm going to be working on creating some courses. I kind of feel weird about creating courses, but there's a lot of things that I think would really help people, and one of them is storytelling. Like when I started doing this, it was so difficult to find things on storytelling. There's a little bit more out there now, but the basic premise of storytelling is you have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and the beginning is kind of your setup, your opening, everything. You introduce characters, or kind of introduce the day in a case of a vlog. And then the middle is when you have this conflict, something that you're going to have to like work through and break through or overcome, whatever that is. Like, I mean, it could be something really simple or it could be something really dramatic. But you always have to have a conflict, and then you always have to have a resolution, which is the end. And the resolution is kind of that, it's the climax, but it's also the release, where everything works out. Or you feel really good about the fact that you overcame this conflict, and then you learn something through the conflict. Hopefully, ideally, that's how a story works. And in its basic, most essence, broken down form, that's how it works. But it relating that to how to edit a video and stuff it's a fair amount of work. And so I'm trying to figure out how to put that into a course and do some stuff like that. And I'm not talking about a $500 or $1,000 course or anything like that. That's insane to me. Anyway, so we'll see. I'll keep y'all apprised and posted about stuff like that as I go. So let's see. Harrison Family Vlogs. You want an affiliate link? I don't have an affiliate link. Hold on though. I can pull something up really quickly. I think if you go to cancel. Forget that. Where's my, here it is. So if you go to this video here, it's, oh my gosh, there we go, right there. Today we're going to talk about what I carry in my camera bag. Hopefully you're not hearing too much of that. There we go. Anyway, if you go to this, it's in the description of this video here. So that's where it is. Hey, Paul, welcome. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna try and catch up to you. Let's see. Where are we here? Mark Lazenby. Planning. Yep. Cardoso. Yeah, planning out shoots makes a huge. You're either gonna invest a ton of time in editing if you don't plan out, but if you do plan out, you're going to invest a lot less time in planning and a little bit of time in planning, or a lot less time in editing, a little bit of time in planning, but it's less time and better overall in the end. Because I think you end up with a better story anyway, no matter what. So, Mark gave you some great options too. I'd forgotten about those. Those are also really good options. So let's see. Mike Roche, you trying to storyboard and flight plan with your drone? Yeah, with dumb luck on our return home. You know what? You do sometimes you just accidentally get some really good shots every now and then. It just happens. And even like some of the videos I've filmed where a few of the shots that have made it into the final product, and like for one of my 5 to 10 minute videos on here, I've probably got an hour and a half to 2 hours of footage that I'm sifting through to break it down to what you end up with. And that, some of the shots have just been purely accidental that end up in there because the angle, the lighting, everything turns out to be perfect. And you end up capturing this moment that's really spectacular. And so, yeah. Let's see. Kyle Kelly, get out to Kansas City. Is that where you are, Kyle? Because I used to live at Lake of the Ozarks for a few years. I was down at Lake of the Ozarks area. Still have some really good friends that live in Blue Springs. And yes, very good barbecue. Mark Lazaby, if you hike, etc., the f-stop bag is a better combo. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Mark. I've looked at that one a few times, and if I didn't have so many camera bags already, I'd probably jump on it. So thanks, Cardoso. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it, man. Have a great evening. Cheers. Paul, welcome back to the stream, I assume. Oh, yeah, look at that. Must be 8:30 where you are. Let's see. Steve Haver, you're planning your next computer purchase. You were a PC guy back in the XP days. You have been a Mac guy since then. Which rabbit hole to go down? Well, if you're a Mac guy, either one of those will work. Yeah, they're both really great programs. Both of them are very well, not so much. They were different workflows, but now they're very similar workflows too. And yeah, I'm with you on the one-time purchase. I am tired of everybody trying to get you on a monthly plan. It's really irritating. So, if you're planning your next computer, if you need to be portable, you should look at the new MacBook Pros. Those things are powerhouses. You don't need to even get the higher end model. If you get the base model and just bump the graphics card up to the top end graphics card, the thing is going to fly through anything you throw at it right now until we get into 8K realm. Yeah. John, you asked if I use ND filters. I do. I have several. One is, hold on, I'll grab it for you. Okay, I'm back. Don't leave. One is, and honestly, it's my favorite, although I was kind of put off by all the mass amounts of reviews that people were doing, but is this guy, the Peter McKinnon Polar Pro filter. I really didn't think it would be as good as everybody was saying. It's expensive, but good filters are expensive. But that is my favorite ND filter. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. I probably will need to get the 6 to 9 stop version for the winter in full sun up here because the snow is just ridiculously bright. So the other one I have is this one here, which is a Hoya variable ND, and it's nice too. It just doesn't have stops, so if you go too far, you get the X effect. But it works well, and I think this was like $80 maybe. And then I've got just a solid. I forgot that I had a step down ring on it. Solid ND filter. That's what is this? It's a ND64 for some longer exposure stuff. And yeah. Oh, that's where my other. I was looking for this. I didn't know where it went. Anyway, so yeah, but the Peter McKinnon Polar Pro ND filter. Like, if you're gonna spend some money, it's really good, and I really like it. Like, it's astounding how good it withstands dust and smudges and water and snow droplets and stuff like that. It's so easy to clean off, and it really cleans off really super fast. So Paul's with me there. Yeah. So yeah, Steven. So Steven, honestly, you can try out DaVinci Resolve for free. and you get pretty much all of the options that you would get with the paid version. Some of them might be time limited, but you can try it out and see which one you would, if you like it or not. People say you can do the same thing with Final Cut Pro by using iMovie, and iMovie does use a lot of the same things, but it's a different workflow and very different feature set between Final Cut Pro and iMovie. It's quite different. John Burnett, you're going on cruises and you're in sunlight a lot. Right, yes. So yeah, I would say if you're gonna do the a 2 to 5 stop will be probably enough for you. What I'm gonna do this winter, what I have been doing when I've been on snow already, which has been not very much, but is I'll still use the 2 to 5 stop, and my aperture will go from like 2.8 to 4, maybe 5.6, which is, I'm okay with that. That's fine by me. So, but a 2 to 5 stop is really a great place to start for an ND filter. It's really, really good. And that's where start off there, see where it goes. So, let's see. I know there was one other question that somebody asked me, and I cannot remember it off the top of my head. But, that's the way it goes, apparently. So, Steve Haver, you're the kind of guy who will read the manual cover to cover, learn all the keyboard shortcuts, so just trying to decide which program you want to dig into. Yeah, they're both really, really good. DaVinci, for color grading, DaVinci Resolve is better than Final Cut Pro. I think from an editing standpoint and probably from an ease of use on Mac standpoint, Final Cut Pro is probably better, just because it's Apple and it works really, really well together with Apple. So and it's a fairly easy to use, easy to learn program. It's very powerful if you dig into it, and if you dig into that and something like Motion to create graphics, it's an incredibly capable tool. And there's a few really good plugins out there for it too that you can get. It's extra money, but it's a one-time purchase. At least most of them are. Let's see, I am trying to find. I don't know. So. Oh yeah, Paul, that's a great point. Yeah, Freewell's been releasing some very variable ND filters, and from everything that I've seen and heard so far, they're really fantastic too. So take a look at those, and they've got to be less than the more expensive options. I'd probably go that route if I were to start over now. Actually, the Freewells are really good. Oh, Paul, you asked me a question a while back about the Peak Design Plate V2 can do both Arca and RC2, and I have no idea. I don't have any Peak Design stuff in my arsenal up here. Kind of weird that I don't, but I do not. So, I'm going to play real quick. I'm going to play the Skydio video just because I don't think I have been this excited for a drone since the original Mavic Pro was released, and I've really just, it's super exciting. Yeah, it's super, super exciting. So I'm going to play that video here in just a second, but I saw Harrison Family Vlogs, you got budget variables that cause bad vignetting. Yeah, so when you're using a variable ND, if you go too far, you'll get this cross X dark patches, and that's, cheaper NDs will do that too, especially variable NDs. So that's where I would look at the Freewell ones, or some of the other better options out there. Gerald Undone had a great video about ND filters, specifically comparing the Peter McKinnon edition against some other high-end, mid-end, low-end filters, and he broke it down really well. So if you can, let's see, I'll try and pull that video up really quick, because that he did the best job of, I think, I've seen of anybody. He's kind of a freak anyway, because he's kind of one of those like quiet genius people apparently. And but he did a really good job. This is it here. He did a really good job of breaking it down.
In general, and find out if this pyramid.
Yeah, turn that off. Let's see. Pull this in. Here's the link to that one for Harrison Family Vlogs. That's a great video there to watch. But then keep in mind the free well filters are out, and you might want to go look at those. So, John Burnett, what video editing software is good? So it depends if you're a Mac or a PC guy. If you're but either one of those, DaVinci Resolve is very good, and that will work on PC or Mac. If you're on PC, mostly DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro, which is Adobe's version, but that's a monthly cost that you'll pay every month. Both of those are good. And then if you're a Mac person, Premiere Pro works okay on Mac. It's not the best, but DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut Pro X, which is what I use, and that's really an excellent video editing. And remember, no matter what, at the end of the day, the tool is just the tool. It's what you do with it that counts. And so you can use any old program, any old editing software, but if you are telling a good story, that is what's going to count in the end. Some of my favorite videos were filmed with this iPhone 6S. And they were filmed walking out across a frozen lake at 17 below zero to a glacier with my iPhone 6S as it was rapidly dying. Battery was rapidly dying. And a Mavic Air. But they were some of my favorite they're still some of my favorite videos just because it's just the story. To me, the story is really cool. Might not be to everybody, but to me it is. So, but okay. So now I am on the first run of the Skydio 2, and as soon as I get the email, I will be filling out everything else I need and then getting it. And I plan on getting the drone, an extra battery, the remote, and the beacon. The beacon for sure. I'm super excited about the beacon. But what this drone can do is incredible. And so I wanted to play this video for you. Maybe. Let's see. Here we go. So they released this earlier today. And so if you look, let me turn that down a bit. There we go. So if you look on the, you see obviously the drone view here, but then in the lower right-hand corner is that's what the drone is seeing through its obstacle avoidance system, which to me is just mind-blowing how detailed it is and how quickly and how well the drone responds to everything around it. It's really amazing. I cannot wait to get this thing and go run through the woods with it and then run up to glaciers or wherever I'm going to end up going is just going to be phenomenal. I think that this drone, if it does everything they show it doing, which no reason to believe it won't, this drone is going to be one of the best tools given to solo creators who are filming themselves, especially for stuff on YouTube, or vloggers, travel vloggers. Like, this drone is going to be one of the best tools that you could add to your arsenal, I think. I say that with absolutely zero potential financial compensation or anything like that. Like, I'm buying it outright. As far as I know, there's no affiliate partner program or anything like that. So when I get it and I do a review of it, it's me saying exactly what I think. Just so you know, but it's mind blowing, the technology that they've packed into this little tiny drone. So the only thing I'm a little disappointed at is that it can't fold. It can't be made to be smaller, and so that'll be interesting to see how I fit it into a camera bag and stuff. But it's not that big. I mean, it's just a tiny bit bigger than my FPV drone, so it'll be possible. It's just a matter of reorganizing and rearranging everything there. But yeah, that drone is mind-blowingly awesome. And if you want to see, you can go look Skydio, their YouTube channel, and you can see the rest of that video. It's like 5 or 6 minutes long. It's really, really fantastic. Mark, any idea when the Skydio will make its way to No, I do not. No, I know they're working on it. They're actively working on it because they do want it to be available to other parts of the world, but not yet. So hopefully before too long, or not before too long. So anyway, you almost dropped a deposit on one. So yeah, I mean, keep an eye on it. Obviously, I'll be doing a bunch of content on it. I know probably a bunch of other YouTubers will be doing a bunch of content on it too, saying how, either how terrible it is or how good it is. I know the Mavic Mini is kind of the big rage right now, and it's cool to have a drone that small, but definitely has its drawbacks and shortcomings. This Skydio drone looks like it might be the thing. And depending on how good the image quality stacks up against my Mavic 2 Pro and what some of the other functionality is, I may be getting rid of my Mavic 2 Pro just because this drone will do 90% of what I need probably, and there's no reason to have two. So yeah, we'll see. So if you're in the market for a Mavic 2 Pro, stay tuned. Just kidding. I can't ship them out of Alaska anyway. I'd have to sell it up here locally. So, Jesse, you wish the camera was a 1-inch sensor? Yeah, me too. That's the only thing. I really wish it was a 1-inch sensor, but we'll see. So, John, the price tag I think is $9.99 US, with a $100 deposit, and then that's without a remote or anything like that. So you just use your phone and the drone with one battery. But the remote and the beacon, I think, are $149 each. An extra battery is like $79 or $89, something like that. So all things considered, it's not that bad. And I'm mostly super excited about the beacon. The remote I'm going to get just to see if it works for like pro work, semi-pro work, real estate type stuff, things like that. But the beacon is what makes it awesome to me, because the fact that you can pull the drone out, set up with a beacon, take off, and do everything you need to do without having to pull this out and connect to a remote, and even do some of the smart functions, smart shots, is really exciting, because then you've got a little tiny device you throw in your pocket, drone, pull them out, and you're ready to go within seconds. I'm really excited about that. So, hey, Brad Alston, you just made it. I'll be wrapping up the stream here in just a few minutes, but you got the Mavic Mini coming tomorrow. Cool. It's a good drone. And you're looking forward to the Skydio 2? Me too. I am very, very looking forward to the Skydio 2. They're marketing toward first responders, which is awesome. Yeah, it is. I think the market potential for that drone, a drone that is that intelligent, is extremely high. And the fact that they've got that little case that you can go like set at a job site and have it automatically do things, really, really good. It's a super insanely intelligent drone. What's exciting to me is not just that. I mean, I'm really excited about that drone in particular, but what is also exciting to me, very exciting to me, is what that will force DJI and other drone manufacturers to do. Competition is so good for us because it forces innovation for them to set themselves apart. So I'm very excited to see what it pushes DJI to do. It'd be really, really exciting. So Brad L said, you already have a Mavic Pro, Mavic Air. Nice. Awesome. Well, ladies, gentlemen, everybody on the stream, I really appreciate you hanging out with me today, this evening, this afternoon, whatever time it is where you are, and chatting. I really appreciate it. Again, I do this every week, this time, same place, and then they go unlisted after that. They're still on my channel, but they're unlisted. You have to go find the link in my Twitter feed or my Instagram or something like that if you want to watch them, and there's a playlist of all of them and stuff like that. But I really appreciate you all hanging out here. I really appreciate all of you watching the videos, subscribing, commenting, being on the live stream. It means a lot. And it's a lot of fun. I'm working on some stuff for the future, including, you submitting stuff and like going through it on the channel and things like that. We'll see where that ends up. But until then, I'll say thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate you all. And I will see you again soon in the next video. Cheers.